Hello everyone, welcome back. It's me, Karishkur, and I want to revisit one of my old guides and one of my favorite openings for Mongols, the classical Horseman Rush that I have been going for such a long time and which has proven to be very useful up until the up until Conqueror, I would say. This particular matchup, we're playing against Diamond, and I want to show you this game because it is, as you can see, very efficient. And before we do that, I want to talk about some things about the Horseman Rush because I can see a few variations, and I want to point them out before we head into this video. So we have two variations, and that means we can start doing the Horseman Rush in a few different ways. So this particular one is a classical start. So I noticed that this stone is way too far. Then I see this one, and I find this particular layout of the base to be very good. So I'm building the oovoo with one villager for the moment, but we could have definitely used maybe all 6 villagers or maybe 5 villagers to build the oovoo much faster than we did now. And building the oovoo with 6 villagers or 5 villagers will allow you to make the horseman much faster. So what I'm doing here is I'm keeping 5 villagers on wood and the rest will be rallied to food. And we're going to wait until we have 150 to build the stables. Meanwhile, I am scouting with a gun, and I have met my opponent here, my opponent scout. I couldn't find many sheep around this map, so I decided to just go through the back of my base a little bit and to try to see if I can find some villagers around here. Some sheep, sorry. But yeah, that was not the case. Okay, so we got 150 wood. All the villagers have been rallied back to food. So once I got 150, I put all the villagers onto food. I'm building the stables. This villager then will go back onto the sheep or to the gold. If you are scouting for sheep with a gur, make sure that once you have 8 villagers, you bring the gur back. This is very important. And once we have the stables up, we will wait until we have 120 stone, and then we're going to produce the horseman. If you are playing against more aggressive civilizations, like maybe like a Ubid, so civilizations that can be very aggressive in the feudal age, maybe it would make sense to start with an early horseman until you manage to get the 120 stone. So this is an option, but I advise you against it. So I advise you against using more than 2 horsemen in a standard matchup. But if you see that, for example, English is going for Council Hall and intends to throw out a lot of longbowmen, then maybe you can go for 3 horsemen. And as you can see, I haven't been scouting my opponent's base directly, so I took my time to scout around my area first, and then I'm looking for my opponent, and of course with Sushi's legacy, it is very likely that they will build a meditation garden outside of their base. The first shot was on the meditation garden and then on the villager. In case he deleted it, I would have managed to get the bounty out of it. He's sending more villagers, but by the time he does so, my horsemen are already out. And yes, before we go onto our opponent, I want to say that we need 2 on gold, and the rest of the villagers are going to go on food. So we're moving fast with the Horseman. It's still pretty early. Of course, the opponent has already gathered the resources for the landmark, but that's fine. We are still going to be in feudal age. As you can see, I also got the resources for this. And we managed to win this one. So yeah, this is the standard Horseman Rush. This is the standard build. We would have been able to age up pretty soon, and aging up is, I think, very good with 6 villagers. So we have to try to pull in 6 villagers. Okay, any other particularities about the Horseman Rush? I wanna look at each civilization, and I wanna tell you that the Horseman Rush is not effective against Mongols, it is not effective against Byzantines, and it is not effective against most HRE players that go for Spearmen in the Dark Age, or Order of the Dragon that go for Spearmen in the Dark Age. So the Horseman Rush might be too, let's say, I think the Horseman Rush doesn't add up for the Holy Roman Empire. But with each other civilization, I see it to be very effective, including Abbasids or Ayyubids. So I would say the Horseman Rush is 3 out of 3 efficient, 3 out of 3 against these civilizations. They're efficient against French and Jeanne d'Arc because 3 horsemen can beat a knight. So you also have to take this into consideration, that if you have 3 horsemen and you can produce another horseman during your transition from the first age to the second age, so you don't delay your age up, this is also a possibility. The same thing I would do against English, because 3 horsemen, remember, will beat a knight, including the English king. So you can still put pressure with 3 horsemen onto the gold of your opponent, even if he has a knight or a king. Horsemen are good against Ottomans because the Ottomans cannot produce too many spearmen in the Dark Age. So the Horseman Rush, if you have 3 horsemen, they're still gonna beat a spearman. Against Malian it is good because you can burn down the buildings. Against Sushi's Legacy and China, it is very good because then you can find villagers moving outside of the base. And against Japanese, I think it doesn't matter if you go for the early Horseman Rush or if you go for a quick feudal age, because the Japanese usually go for a quick age 3. So during the Horseman Rush, we'll give you the possibility to throw a Japanese opponent off his gold, and then to follow up with Keshik and to put pressure onto the gold and the gold tower. Only make Mangudai if you see that they're going for barracks and spearmen. So make Mangudai after, or archers, whatever you like to go for, if you see that your opponent is going for spearmen. So this is the most recent Horseman Rush. You can continue asking questions even in the comments. If you need any advice related to the Horseman Rush. If you wanna check out more, you can look at my other videos on my channel. Most of them start with a Horseman Rush, so you can see the different variations and the different matchups. And for me, the Horseman Rush is the first contact with my opponent, and it kind of gives me a clue what type of opponent I'm facing. Is he more aggressive? Is he good with micro, or is he focused on his economy? And it allows me to ride around the base and to see where my opponent is heading. So it is not as efficient in giving information as a tower rush, but it is much cheaper and as deadly as a tower rush. So yeah, thanks for watching, hope it was useful, and see you around.